Have you ever wondered what would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Buckle up, because the consequences are more mind-blowing than you might think. I mean, we're all spinning with the Earth right now, at this very moment. It's not like we feel it, right? Wrong. The Earth rotates at a speed of roughly 1,000 miles per hour. If it were to suddenly stop, well, let's just say we'd have a lot more to worry about than just a few spilled drinks. We're talking catastrophic events on a global scale. From tsunamis taller than skyscrapers to winds that could strip the planet bare, a sudden stop to the Earth's rotation would be nothing short of an apocalypse. So join me as we dive into the science behind this hypothetical disaster and explore the terrifying chain reaction that would unfold if our planet were to hit the cosmic brakes. Okay, so picture this. The Earth in all its cosmic glory decides to hit the brakes on its rotation. Just a full-on screeching halt. What happens next? Well, the first thing you need to understand is inertia. It's Newton's first law of motion. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. That means everything on the Earth's surface, you, me, your pet goldfish, the Great Pyramids, everything, would suddenly be moving at 1,000 miles per hour eastward. Imagine being instantly launched at the speed of a jet plane. That's what everyone on Earth would experience. And it wouldn't be a smooth ride. Buildings would crumble, trees would be uprooted, and entire cities would be reduced to rubble in the blink of an eye. It'd be pure chaos. But that's not all. Remember gravity? It's what keeps us grounded on this spinning rock. Now, the Earth's rotation actually counteracts gravity slightly, making us weigh a tiny bit less at the equator than at the poles. But if the Earth stopped spinning, that balance would be thrown out of whack. We'd all feel a sudden, significant increase in weight. Not enough to crush us, mind you, but definitely enough to make moving around a whole lot harder. It'd be like that feeling you get in your stomach on a roller coaster drop, but on a planetary scale. And it wouldn't stop there. The oceans, no longer held in check by the Earth's rotation, would surge toward the poles, drowning entire continents under trillions of gallons of water. Coastal cities? Gone. Island nations? Submerged. We're talking a global flood of biblical proportions. And if you thought that was bad, just wait. The atmosphere, still spinning at its original speed, would whip around the planet at supersonic speeds, creating winds so powerful they'd make hurricanes look like a gentle breeze. Let's dive deeper into what happens to our oceans when Earth slams the brakes on its rotation. Remember that inertia thing we talked about? Well, it applies to water too. See, the oceans are used to spinning along with the Earth. They've found their balance over billions of years. But a sudden stop? That's gonna throw them a curveball they won't soon forget. Imagine a giant bathtub, spinning really fast. The water is pushed up against the sides, right? That's centrifugal force in action. Now stop the tub suddenly and all that water sloshes back towards the center. That's basically what would happen to our oceans, but on a much, much larger scale. The water, no longer held outward by the Earth's spin, would surge towards the poles, creating tsunamis unlike anything humanity has ever witnessed. We're talking walls of water miles high, crashing inland with unimaginable force, reshaping continents and swallowing everything in their path. Coastal cities, already reduced to rubble by the initial shockwave, would be completely obliterated, washed away as if they were nothing more than sandcastles in the surf. But here's the kicker. It wouldn't just be the coastlines that would be affected. The sheer volume of water moving towards the poles would cause the Earth's crust to deform, triggering earthquakes and volcanic eruptions on a scale that would make the Ring of Fire look like a child's plaything. And as if that wasn't enough, the displacement of so much water would shift the Earth's center of gravity, potentially altering its axis and throwing our entire planet into a state of chaotic wobbling. It's a recipe for disaster on a planetary scale, and the oceans are just getting started. Now let's talk about the air we breathe, or rather, what would be left of it. If the Earth were to stop spinning, the atmosphere, still clinging to its original momentum, would keep right on going. And when I say keep going, I mean it would whip around the planet at speeds exceeding 1,000 miles per hour. Imagine a global-scale supersonic windstorm. That's what we'd be dealing with. These winds would be so powerful they'd rip apart anything in their path. Buildings, bridges, trees, even mountains, nothing would be safe. The surface of the Earth would be scoured clean, stripped bare by the sheer force of the wind. And if the flying debris doesn't get you, the heat probably will. The friction generated by the atmosphere rubbing against the stationary surface would generate an insane amount of heat, potentially raising global temperatures to hundreds of degrees in some areas. We're talking about the kind of heat that can melt metal, the kind of heat that would turn our planet's surface into a scorching inferno. But the chaos doesn't end there. Remember the Earth's magnetic field? It's generated by our planet's rotation and acts as a shield, protecting us from harmful solar radiation. But without that spin, our magnetic field would collapse, leaving us exposed to the full brunt of the sun's deadly rays. So, not only would we have to contend with supersonic winds, scorching heat, and a global debris storm, but we'd also be bombarded by lethal doses of radiation. It's safe to say that the atmosphere, once our protector, would quickly become our enemy in this apocalyptic scenario. So we've got mega tsunamis, supersonic winds, scorching heat, and lethal radiation. Not exactly the ideal conditions for a picnic, right? It's pretty clear that if the Earth were to suddenly stop spinning, humanity would be in for a very, very bad time. The immediate aftermath of the stop would be catastrophic. Billions of people would likely perish in the initial chaos of earthquakes, tsunamis, and supersonic winds. Those who managed to survive the initial onslaught would face a whole new set of challenges. The lack of rotation would disrupt day and night cycles, plunging half of the planet into perpetual darkness, and the other half into endless daylight. This would wreak havoc on plant and animal life, leading to widespread extinctions and collapsing food chains. Agriculture as we know it would be impossible. Crops would wither and die under the constant bombardment of solar radiation or freeze in the perpetual darkness. Water sources would be contaminated and the air itself would be toxic. Finding safe shelter and access to clean food and water would be the top priorities, but resources would be scarce and fiercely contested. Humanity would be pushed to the brink of extinction, forced to adapt to a hostile and unforgiving environment. Survival would depend on our ability to cooperate, innovate, and find new ways to sustain ourselves in a world that has been irrevocably altered. It would be the ultimate test of our resilience and adaptability. Assuming, and that's a big assumption, that some humans managed to survive the initial chaos and the subsequent environmental collapse, what kind of world would they be left to rebuild on? Well, it wouldn't be anything like the Earth we know and love. With the Earth no longer spinning, one hemisphere would face the sun constantly, while the other would be shrouded in perpetual darkness. The sun-facing side would experience scorching temperatures, while the dark side would freeze over, creating two extreme and uninhabitable environments. The only habitable zone might be a narrow twilight band between these extremes, but even that would be subject to violent weather patterns and extreme temperature fluctuations. The oceans, having settled into their new equilibrium, would be vastly different as well. The massive polar ice caps, no longer melted by the Earth's rotation, would lock up vast amounts of water, lowering sea levels and potentially exposing new landmasses. But these new continents would be barren and inhospitable, sculpted by the extreme weather and devoid of life as we know it. The atmosphere, still bombarded by solar radiation, would likely be thin and toxic, making it difficult to breathe without some form of protection. And without a magnetic field to shield us, we'd be constantly exposed to harmful cosmic rays, increasing the risk of cancer and other radiation-related illnesses. In short, the Earth, once vibrant and teeming with life, would be a shadow of its former self, a desolate, alien world shaped by extreme temperatures, toxic air, and constant radiation. It would be a world where survival would be a daily struggle, and evolution would take a sharp turn, favoring only the hardiest and most adaptable life forms. So, while it's highly unlikely that the Earth will ever just stop spinning, it's fascinating and a bit terrifying to think about what would happen if it did. It's a stark reminder of the delicate balance that governs our planet and the incredible forces that shape our existence. We often take for granted the steady spin of our planet, but as we've seen, it's this very rotation that makes life on Earth possible. It regulates our days and nights, drives our weather patterns, and protects us from the harshest elements of space. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember the incredible cosmic dance that keeps our planet spinning and life as we know it thriving. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-blowing content.